Oh, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to part 12, Wolves on the BackBit. Ah, man. This was, well, this was a perplexing problem. We are at day 34 of the project, and I was pulling my fur out because my program now had a bug, a showstopper of a bug. Now, a bug isn't always a piece of code in the wrong place, or a typo, or an X in place of an A. It could be logical in nature, and if you don't understand how your computer works, because it'll only do what you're asking it to do in the way it's designed to do it. If you don't understand that process, you're inviting trouble. And this bug, in terms of a one guy, team, could spell disaster. And luckily, I do get my head around it. I understand in the end why it was doing what it was doing, and which, of course, allows me to solve it. And without being able to get through this, I would have had to back up to a version that I knew worked, take a different approach altogether, or possibly, and this is not the cool way to get about it, fudge my way through it and proceed forward. And that's a bad way to deal with a bug. It helps to understand why they're doing what they're doing, if you can. And and of course, getting through this, made me a better programmer for it. There is a bug down the road that I did not solve, and I had to back up. I was making a tangle of my code anyway, so it wasn't a big loss. However, I'm not too proud of that. It's admitting defeat in a way. But this is the one that mattered, and I did get through it, so good. And obviously, I'm including it because, it's one of the things that happened around that time. But personally, I find stories about bugs fascinating, even if I don't understand the platform. As long as it's explained to me, in more or less terms I can understand, it's like a story. And a very interesting story. So if you're like me, perhaps you'll find this story interesting as well. So, yes, without further ado, look how majestic I am. Oh, crap, that thing screwed up and lost tracking. Here I am. See me? Am I back? Okay. Looking majestic backfired. That sucks. Anyway, part 12. Perplexing problem. Let's just watch a stupid video. Here's another color flipper. You see the blanks, the skippable spaces, but also where the flags need to be to tell the decompressor where to start skipping. So 706 skippable spaces, but you're going to need 142 of those spaces used to say, hey, this is a marker, skip ahead. And in some cases, there's no bloody point in saying, look, skip ahead one, skip ahead one. No, that's dumb, because those shouldn't be compressed. It just takes longer that way. I've already looked into this. I am getting a little desperate. I do not think I can pull off 6 frames a second without a complete and utter overhaul, and really progress per day has slowed to a crawl. So I don't know what I'm going to do here. I'm probably wrapping this up soon so I can show you guys. Really, I'm done with it, I guess. It's just not very polished yet, and it doesn't do PAL or the new SID chip. Oh boy. Take a good look at around 1515. This is going to blow your mind. Now what we do here, this is the, sync raster bit. I set it to white. So after it does its little bit, it's going to set the background to white, right? Now, our raster interrupt, which occurs on line 251, is going to set it to black, okay? Now, I've been running my head ragged trying to figure this out because, okay, now I could turn this up. It's nice and synchronized. Yeah, water's great. Okay, now here's the thing. I was messing around tonight, and every so often I would get something that was out of sync. The video and the audio became out of sync by several seconds by the end of the video. And I didn't do anything that should have caused it. Now, here's the thing. Well, like you see, it turns to black. That's the raster interrupt has now done its thing. And at some point, the NMI goes, oh, hey, I'm on line 256. I'm going to stall for 65 cycles and restart the timer and then draw it white. And this happens on every single frame. So we have a solid black here, right? So now let's get out of here. Well, I've added some debugging crap here. But anyway, now here's where the mind blow happens. 15, 15. Well, what can we do? We can increment something, but let's do something pretty harmless. There we go. Actually, well, no, I haven't tried this, but if this does the same effect, then you're gonna know. Oh boy. There it is. So our NMI begins with a NOP. Nice harmless little NOP, right? You ready? Look at that, and it's happening. The flash of white is only because the raster interrupt did not occur to change it to black. And
isn't this good, Bobby? It sure is, kiddo.
you see, every time this flickers to white, the audio and video are getting one frame further apart. Now, I don't know why this is actually occurring. Well, it is possibly something to do with, what do they call that? The NMI is hijacking the regular interrupt, perhaps? But what I don't understand, the raster interrupt is set for line 251, and the NMI occurs on only the even lines. So why is that happening? You know, because I just don't know. And I would like to add stuff. I had a way in place to simplify what I believed was simplifying this bit here. And I thought I was on the right track, and it ended up making the video play even slower. And that's because of this thing. And it wasn't until I added a bunch of color checkies that I actually pinned it down. Pinned it, but I don't understand it. So how do I make it this? How do I stop this from happening? Or at least understand why so I can avoid it? Now, something I can do to show you here, let's see. Well, let's just increment the color there. Well, wait, what should we do? Load X with what? 2. There we go. Sorry, it's that one-handed typing again. All right. Watch me cheat. I'm going to turn it up to 20 megahertz. Boom, assembled. Ha ha ha. And I have to slow it down. Otherwise, the whole test is out the window. Okay. Interesting. I wonder what that means. I don't know. Do you know? Wait. Let's think about this. Every single NMI is turning it red. And this black line is done by the raster. And then where it's flickering there, this bit is the red interrupting again. And this part at the bottom, that's that white beam that after the delay is done, the NMI sets it to white. And it stays that way until yet another NMI comes along and paints it red again. And it stays red all the way down the line. Doesn't mean I understand it. What a waste of 6 minutes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You could have watched anything. There's a lot of cat videos on YouTube, you know. Alright, sorry about the flashing lights. I have the only the raster interrupt setting the background to black while it's on and white on its way out. You see that little crack where it's only white? When it does a frame update, it begins here and goes draw, all the way to there. Because it's doing the color ramp chasing the raster beam, but it's doing it sequentially now. So you're not having this chunk where it's speckling in like here, with one page. It's just going left to right. And that's slower. Less chance for, color glitching. But my code is not that good because look how long it takes. Bummer. I still haven't figured out why the NMI is being hijacking or whatever. It could have something to do with this. Maybe every so often it takes longer and the next interrupt is interrupting it or something to that effect. I do not know. But check it out because at the moment I took away all the extra code. Listen when his paws do his little dance. Right here. Right.
I'm feeling great. My toothache just got better. Just excited, that's all.
And that's how I know if it's in sync or not, apart from the obvious things. And I still have it, I have it automatically just counting a certain number of frames and then setting the done flag, but it doesn't check the done flag while it's in the video fill routine until it leaves, which is unfortunate, but whatever. I might find a way around that too. All right, I think I fixed it. Let's see if it is fixed. Now I set it so it's just going to do that. See, only the NMIs do it on the way in and undo it on the way out. Now let's see if it's out of sync.
So good here. Oh, if only they were here. Isn't this good, Father? It sure is, kiddo. Yeah, it'd sure be better if she were.
All right. Now, let's watch the pause at the end. Oh yeah, you might be wondering, what is that, right? What's happening there? Well, it's every 256 samples, the high byte of the reader needs to get incremented, which coincides to a pattern that makes that long read screwed up the screen because there's about 131 reads happening in one frame, so 262 in 2 frames. You can see it's, yeah. You'd think that would make it go down though. I don't know. But anyways, back to the waiting on the pause.
I'm feeling great. My toothache just got better. Just excited, that's all.
Ha! Solved that puppy. Now, what did I do, right? Well, let me show you. First, let's check out my... Ouch. Yeah, it's pretty slow. Okay, anyway, what did I do different? Check this out. Dun, 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 dun. Perhaps I should have showed you this first, and maybe I will in the end. Now, the reason why I thought the NMI was hijacking the original interrupter, something crazy was going on, is because it was losing frames. But here's what happens. When a new frame is, when it's time for it, boink, comes here. Does the new frame, resets the amount of counter. When that hits 10, it's time for new frame again. So it does the frame, resets, acknowledges the interrupt, leaves. Good little boy, okay? But the thing is, this frame up business starts pretty much, somewhere down here and changes a bunch of stuff, starts changing the color RAM sequentially. So it's racing the raster. The raster is trying to catch up to it. Meanwhile, it's like, yeah, I'm down here. So you never really see the difference, especially with 4 buffers. But by the time it gets to the bottom, once in a blue moon, it's actually too slow. And it's already triggered the next raster interrupt should have begun, but it's still busy with this one. And on its way out, acknowledges the one that has not occurred yet and happily just ignores it. So when the conditions are just right, it takes too long, it drops an interrupt and falls behind, because this is the routine that is meant to time everything. Now, why would adding a single NOP to the NMI cause this to occur? Because this is taking a certain number of cycles regardless. It takes that much time on, concentrated for it. But if you have a NOP happening here and 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 here, every 2 raster lines, well, that's about 130 times 2. You've slowed it down 260. So you've almost guaranteed now that it's going to overshoot, making it more and more likely to drop a frame and fall behind. And yet I thought I was so clever with this frame debt nonsense that it would keep track and skip frames when necessary, right? It does, only if the raster interrupt is keeping accurate count. And that was one way where it wasn't. And I was just showing you from the disk, but this is now the replacement version. See, we acknowledge it first and then go ahead and do it. So when the new interrupt flags down the road, even though it could be in the middle of doing this, as soon as it leaves, well, we've acknowledged it here, so it's reset itself, and it will trigger almost immediately. Back it goes, does it again. I think that's better. Wow. Some of the more craziest problems, the ones that pull your hair out, once you understand them, it's like, wow, that does make sense. But, I literally thought that there was something crazy going on with my interrupts, but it's just my code. And once again, just to prove things, I added a bunch of extra increments and decrements to the color. Are we out of sync?
Isn't this good, Babu? It sure is, kiddo.
Maybe a little.
Yeah, it'd sure be better if she were here. Huh? What's a goat doing here?
Okay, it's not. But anyway, well, that's just for fun, but wow, it sucks. All right, despite the name, this isn't the final version of the final, but I have it coloring before and after the NMI. Basically, take a look. This is, well, let me turn this down. This is, everything in white is the sound routine, right? So without the coloring, it's going to be maybe like, say, 6 closer and on the way out, 6 in. So the actual sound activity is only happening in here, with actually a little bit of lead in for the NMI occurring and the RTI on the way out. So essentially what you see here is all the activity that is related to the sound by the processor. And of course, that big long line is that 65 cycle delay I've stuck in here so it can dance around the bad lines every single frame. I just feel better with that in place. I had other things in mind. I tried previously, I think yesterday, the day before, I had it going to 0 page to save an extra cycle off of every single one of these. And I don't like having code in 0 page because I can't just like look it up in a browser and check it out because, you know, I have to restore things as I leave so I don't trash BASIC completely. But anyways, I'm rambling, so I probably will edit this out anyways. Well, what's going on here, you think? Ooh, looky, it's drawing dots. Oh, another dot. Anyway, it's busy. It's copying it's making the 8580 version of the Mahoney converted digi file. So, I mean, I don't have an 8580 to play it on, but I'm going to include it as part of the, as part of the thing here. And hopefully it'll play without making a horrific screech because I won't be able to test it. Yeah. And some time ago, I started one big copy file. Where's the other one? Oh, you can't see it. Anyway, my original video with the 6581 video stream or audio stream, I'm adding on this one for the other video or audio stream. Anyway, it's busy, 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 but it takes a long time. It's still doing its thing. And the first few times I did this, I gave up or got worried. It takes over an hour, but at least I can do it on the Commodore.